The rain fell hard that Thursday morning, hammering against the windshield of Emily Carter's old Honda Civic as she tried to keep her eyes open. She was running on 3 hours of sleep, a half-eaten granola bar, and the stubborn hope that someday, things might finally get easier. Her 7-year-old son, Noah, sat in the backseat humming softly, his small fingers tracing foggy circles on the window. Emily glanced at him in the mirror. He was the reason she kept going. Every shift, every sleepless night, every bill she fought to pay, it all came down to him. She worked 2 jobs, one at the diner off Route 17 and another cleaning offices downtown. Between school runs, daycare pickups, and endless bills, life had become a marathon she never trained for. Still, she pushed forward. Because that's what single mothers do. That morning, Emily stopped at her usual coffee shop, a tiny place called Maple and Steam, for a rare treat, a small latte to keep her going through her double shift. She counted her change twice before stepping up to the counter. That's when she noticed him. A man stood in line ahead of her. His clothes were worn, his shoes muddy, and his hands shook as he searched his pockets. "I'm sorry," he murmured to the cashier, I thought I had enough." He looked embarrassed, his face red beneath the scruff of an unshaven beard. The total on the screen read $3.75. Without thinking twice, Emily reached into her purse. "I'll cover it," she said. The man turned, startled. "You don't have to do that, ma'am. It's just coffee," she smiled. "We all need a warm start sometimes." The cashier smiled as Emily handed over the coins. The man hesitated, then nodded. "Thank you," he said softly. You're very kind." She waved it off, grabbed her latte, and hurried to work. By the time her shift began, she had almost forgotten the moment. But the man hadn't. That night, Emily got home past 11:30 p.m. Noah was asleep on the couch under a blanket, a children's movie paused on the TV. She smiled tiredly, lifted him, and tucked him into bed. Bills covered the kitchen table. The electric company had sent another warning. The rent was late again. Emily sank into a chair, rubbing her temples. Her landlord, Mr. Grady, had been patient, but his tone had changed lately. "If you can't get caught up by Friday, Emily, I'll have to list the property," he'd said that morning. "I'm sorry, I've got my own mortgage." She'd nodded numbly, pretending not to panic. Now, with her head on the table and exhaustion pulling at her bones, she whispered a prayer. "Please, God, just one break. Just one." The next morning began like any other, until the sound came. It started faint, like thunder in the distance. Then it grew louder. The dishes on the counter rattled. Noah ran into the kitchen, eyes wide. "Mom, there's something outside." Emily rushed to the window, and froze. A helicopter was descending in the empty field beside their small rental house. Her first thought was an emergency, but the sleek black paint and gold trim said otherwise. It wasn't an ambulance or police chopper. The door opened, and 2 men in suits stepped out, shielding their faces from the wind. One of them held a folder. The other was speaking into an earpiece. Emily's heart pounded. "Stay inside," she told Noah. When she stepped onto the porch, the wind from the blades whipped her hair across her face. The taller man approached, smiling warmly. "Ms. Emily Carter," he called out. "Yes," she said cautiously. "My name is Daniel Grant. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Thomas Waverly." The name meant nothing to her. I don't know anyone by that name." Daniel's smile widened. "You met him yesterday morning. You bought him a coffee." Emily blinked. "Wait, the man at Maple and Steam?" "Yes, ma'am, that was him." "I don't understand," she said, clutching her robe tighter. "Why are you here? Who is he?" Daniel opened the folder and handed her an envelope embossed with a gold seal. "Mr. Waverly asked me to deliver this personally." Emily tore it open with trembling fingers. Inside was a handwritten letter, and a cashier's check. She gasped. The check was made out to her. For $250,000. Her knees nearly gave out. This must be a mistake." She stammered. Daniel shook his head. "No mistake, Ms. Carter. Mr. Waverly is a retired CEO. He's been traveling the country for the past year, trying to find genuine kindness in a world that's forgotten what it looks like. Yesterday, you showed it to him." Emily couldn't speak. Tears blurred her vision. Daniel continued, "He asked us to make sure you never have to worry about rent, bills, or groceries again. There's also a note you should read." She unfolded the paper. In neat handwriting, it read, "Dear Emily, yesterday, You reminded me that kindness doesn't come with a price tag. I had lost faith in people for a long time, but your small act changed that. You didn't know me. You had nothing to gain. You simply cared. I've spent my life building companies and chasing wealth, only to realize I'd forgotten how to connect with people. But that morning, a stranger's kindness brought me back to life. Use this gift to build the life you and your son deserve. And when you can, pass it forward. Thomas Waverly. Emily pressed the paper to her heart, sobbing. I don't. How do you even thank someone for this? Daniel smiled. You already did. In the weeks that followed, Emily's life transformed. She paid off her debts. The eviction notice vanished. She quit one of her jobs, allowing her to spend evenings helping Noah with homework and reading bedtime stories instead of cleaning offices until midnight. But Emily didn't stop there. Instead of using the money solely for comfort, she started something small, a community coffee fund at Maple and Steam. Anyone struggling could come in for a free drink, no questions asked. She called it the Kind Cup Project. At first, it was just her. Then her coworkers joined in. Then local businesses. Within months, the story went viral. Single mom's coffee kindness inspires movement of giving. Reporters called. Bloggers wrote about her. But Emily never sought fame. She only wanted to keep the kindness going. Noah would often help by making drawings that the cafe gave out with each free cup. His favorite one read, kindness tastes like coffee and love. Still, Emily often thought about Mr. Waverly. She hadn't heard from him since that morning. Then, nearly a year later, she received another letter, this time, from a law firm. It explained that Thomas Waverly had passed away peacefully in his sleep 2 weeks earlier. In his will, he had left a portion of his estate to fund the Kind Cup Project permanently. Enclosed was a photo of Thomas, clean-shaven, smiling, standing beside a young man holding a cup of coffee. The handwriting on the back said, "Thank you for reminding me how to live." Emily cried again, but this time, they were tears of gratitude. Years later, Maple and Steam had expanded to 5 locations across the state, all serving free coffee to anyone in need. Emily was now the founder and director of the nonprofit that managed them. She hired single parents, veterans, and young people trying to rebuild their lives. She didn't live in luxury, but she lived in peace and purpose. One summer evening, Emily sat outside the cafe, sipping coffee as the sun dipped below the horizon. Noah, now 12, was helping restock the shelves inside. A young woman approached the counter, looking nervous. She had a toddler on her hip and rummaged through her bag with shaking hands. I think I lost my wallet, she said. I'm so sorry. Emily stepped up and smiled. Don't worry about it, your coffee's covered. The woman's eyes filled with tears. Really, Emily said, handing her a steaming cup. We all need a warm start sometimes. The woman took it with trembling hands, whispering, thank you. As she walked away, Noah came to stand beside his mother. You say that every time, he said. Emily smiled, watching the woman disappear into the evening. Because it's true. He tilted his head. Do you think Mr. Waverly's watching us? She looked up at the pink and gold sky. I think he is, she said softly. And I think he's smiling. That night, after closing, Emily locked the cafe and stood in the quiet glow of the streetlights. Across the counter was the original note from Thomas, framed beneath glass. Use this gift to build the life you and your son deserve. And when you can, pass it forward. She traced the words with her fingertips, whispering, I did, Thomas. I did. As she stepped outside, a gentle breeze rustled the trees, carrying the faint hum of a distant helicopter passing overhead. She smiled at the sound, a reminder of how one small act of kindness had changed everything. Message: kindness doesn't have to be grand to be powerful. Sometimes, a simple gesture, a coffee, a smile, a moment of compassion, can ripple through lives and heal what the world has forgotten. Because when you give without expecting, life has a way of giving back, often in ways you could never imagine.